How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. So we're talking about the offense today, and I'm freaking excited. Why? This Yankee offense is different. It's not just about home runs anymore. Yesterday, we saw the quintessential offense display something that we haven't in years, honestly. We saw guys bunting men over. We saw Stanton hitting 110-mile-an-hour singles. We saw Vulpi hitting home runs, Soto hitting home runs. This isn't just a team that relies on the long ball anymore. They can actually get on base. They can take pitches. They can see a lot of pitches. They can take advantage of good pitch. Luzardo's a good pitcher. Don't get it twisted. The Yankees dominated him. Why? They've made him work. They didn't swing at everything on the first go-around. They made sure to take their time, pick the right pitches, make him throw strikes. You know, if you throw him balls, you're going to get walks. Force him to throw strikes and then to capitalize on that. It was really beautiful to see. I want to talk about how this offense is striking out in the bottom half of the league right now, which is unusual for a team that prided itself in the past on high strikeouts and high home run rates. Now we're seeing the strikeouts reduce, the home runs maintain, and a lot more on-base opportunities, and some of these players in the middle to the bottom half of the order stepping up and producing at a very high level, notably Vulpi. You talked about him yesterday. Stanton's been absolutely red hot, and then Juan Soto gets his first home run in Yankee Stadium yesterday, second of the year. It's just exciting, man. Everything is clicking right now for this team. And the pitching, Nestor Cortez, what a performance. We'll kind of discuss it all. And Ryan, I know you have a lot of metrics information on the offense specifically regarding how these guys have taken a big step forward. So before we dive into it, how you do today, my friend?
I mean, I'm doing great, right? Like, yesterday's game was probably, like, one of the best regular season games to just watch, right? Soto goes yard, Vulpi goes yard. It's a 2-hour game. The starting pitching is brilliant. You don't even need to use your bullpen, really. Josh, I can't pronounce his last name. I think it's Majewski or something of that sort. But he got to make his major league debut after 6 or 7 years in the Yankee organization. That's a pretty long time of minor league baseball, so hats off to him. I know that that's a really special night for him and his family, and I'm sure that's a moment he'll never forget. From the, as you mentioned, Cortez's performance, and then the offense, like, the process at the plate is wonderful. Jesus Luzardo would eat alive last year's Yankee offense. Last year's Yankee offense was a passive group, and I think there's a difference between passive and patient or selective. A passive group just allows the game to kind of, they're not allowing the game to come to them. They're just letting pitchers conduct the pace of this game. Yes, last year, the Yankees were 20th. They had the 20th in a hittable pitch percentage taken, which means they had they were one of the 10 most likely teams to take a hittable pitch. That's not good, right? Like, that's bad, right? Like, we can talk about how they're 9th in chase rate. They had a really low chase rate last year. They were selective, and I know the big thing when Sean Casey came around was they're taking more pitches. This is awesome. Yeah, but they're taking pitches you're supposed to swing at, right? The same way you reward a hitter for not swinging at a pitch that's bad to swing at, like pitches outside of the zone you typically can't do damage on, you should penalize a hitter for not swinging at a pitch you should swing at. When I see a center cut fastball, that's a damage pitch. That's a pitch you need to be swinging at every single time. You have to swing at that pitch. I don't care if it's an 0-0 count. I don't care if the guy just walked the ballpark. I don't care if it's a 3-1 count. That pitch you will not see for the rest of the count. You have to swing at that pitch. And Alex, how many times would you see guys fall 0-2, 1-2, 0-1, and it's like, swing. That's a pitch to hit. Do damage. This year, the Yankees have the 8th lowest hittable pitch percentage taken. That's a huge leap. And they've seen their chase rate decrease from 31.1%, which is the 9th lowest, to 26.7%, which is the 2nd lowest in baseball. That's massive. So when you're able to swing more at pitches you need to do damage with, and then you swing less at pitches you should not be touching, that requires some really good plate discipline. We talked about the hiring of James Rosen, what he could bring to the organization, and we're seeing it very early on. And you mentioned the contact, right? The Yankees went from 25th in zone contact rate to 4th. 25th to 4th. That is a monstrous jump. That is I haven't seen a Yankee team play like this. And you mentioned the power, right? Like maintaining power. What we don't want is the Yankees to sacrifice a ton of power in the name of contact, but we want the Yankees to be able to fuse the two. It kind of feels like the Yankees are a more mature team, and it's weird to say that because, most people would look at a Yankee team that's younger, that has more spunk and energy and say, that's a more immature Yankee team. That's a less buttoned-up Yankee team. Well, you know what? A less buttoned-up version of the Yankees has been a much more mature one, has been much more malleable. They've been a lot more receptive to getting punched in the face. How many times have we seen the script of a Yankee team just getting rocked in the face in Houston? 4 runs before the second inning even kicks off. and they just drop the game. They drop dead like fish. You know what I mean? This team, though, they punch back. They fight back. They wear pitchers down. They knock guys out of games. They do everything that you want an offense to do, and they're just excelling right now. They have one of the lowest whiff rates in baseball. If I'm not mistaken, I believe they still have the lowest whiff rate in the American League. That's remarkable. They have a bunch of power hitters, and I'm going to specifically mention Giancarlo Stanton here because he's a guy who has chased a lot, and not to dog on him, but to say Stan can have a 310 OBP and slug 500, and that's actually exactly what you would want because everybody else on this team gets on base. This is crazy. Only Giancarlo Stanton and John Birdie have chase rates that are worse than the MLB average. Even your hitters that aren't producing, whether it's Jose Trevino and Trent Grisham, they're basically telling pitchers, you gotta beat us. You have to attack us. You have to throw 3 strikes if you want us to get out. And I know that I'm not sitting here to say, oh my God, look at how good Jose Trevino's been this year. But it's more so to say, even their bad hitters aren't beating themselves. And when you have a lineup full of guys who are not going to beat themselves, they're not going to give the pitcher breaks, and they force the pitcher to consistently throw strikes, you put pitchers in a really tough spot, and you really press on bullpens. And in a playoff series, you're going to beat the crap out of teams doing that. We've already seen how the Yankees have been able to beat up teams in the series because of it. The Blue Jays, they had no bullpen to go to by game 3. And even the Astros series, the Astros their bullpen was in fumes, and it's been in fumes to the point in which they haven't really been able to rebound, right? Look at the Arizona series. They were burnt. They had nobody to go to in extra innings. The Yankees were able to eat their bullpen for lunch because the Yankees had knocked out their starters early, run up their pitch counts, force them to bring in the bullpen. That's the kind of stuff. The Yankees are deadly in the 3rd game or 4th game of a series because they've already worn out your bullpen in the first 2 games. You have your closers shot, your setup man shot, your middle reliever shot, your bridge guy shot, your long reliever shot. That's what a really good Yankee offense has been able to do. And my dad has said this, my uncle has said this. This looks like the 90s Yankees in terms of the way they grind through at-bats and force pitchers to work.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most obvious transitions that I've at least noticed is the bottom half of the order and the excellent at-bats that they're putting together. Last year, you remember Billy McKinney and Jake Bowers. You remember, even Vulpi struggling as a rookie. You remember Jose Trevino before he was injured. You remember, Ben Rortvedt, whoever the hell, Harrison Bader. The bottom half of the order was basically like, they're either automatic outs or you're praying or you're getting lucky with a hit, right? Now, you look at this bottom half of the order, and you look at Vulpi, who's batting 6th right now, and Vulpi could be hitting leadoff. Vulpi could be one of the best players. He is one of the best players on this team right now. You could argue he's having a hotter start than Juan Soto offensively. That's how good he's been. And I think that's incredible, because right now everyone's looking at Juan Soto saying, this guy is unbelievable. He's hitting home runs. He's doing everything. And then you look at Volpe's numbers and say, hold on a second, is Volpe's playing better than him? Like, holy crap. Not to mention 3 stolen bags already, right? So, there are other variables here. And, I didn't look at Volpe's updated defensive stats. We've really been just talking about offense right now. But 2 days ago, he had 3 defensive runs saved. And right now he still has 3 defensive runs saved and an out above average. But if you guys watched yesterday's game, he had 2 mind-blowing defensive plays. A beautiful snag on a line drive, and another one that he slid across his body, scooped it up, and lasered it. The arm talent is there. The strength is there. The reaction timing is there. This dude just wants to be great. You can tell everything about him. He struck out. Remember, that there was a bad strikeout call on him. He slammed his helmet on the ground. It wasn't his fault. It was a ball. But you just see, this kid gives a crap. He wants every at-bat, and he wants it. He wants every at-bat to be his at-bat. He wants to be a productive player, and that is... that bleeds, man. That bleeds into everybody else. The intangible qualities that Vulpi has are going to impact everybody around him. And if you have multiple people like that, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, those guys, I'd even throw Gleyber Torres in there. I even throw Oswaldo Cabrera. That guy just wants to be great. These guys are making each other better because they all have a similar mindset. And Juan Soto said it yesterday, we feel like a family. I don't think family members leave, man. I'll tell you that right now. Family members don't walk away from family members. Juan Soto ain't freaking leaving the Yankees. I know it's just talk, it's just words. But, over the course of a full season, if they dominate, put together a great year, these guys are going to be locked. You know what I mean? They're going to be a unit. You don't want to lose a unit. Hal Steinbrenner is not letting one of their most important family members walk away. It's not happening. I just don't see it, especially because, by the way, Ryan, I don't know if you saw this. You know how much the Yankees gained in valuation of their company, of the Yankee organization last year in an 82-80 season? They didn't even make the freaking playoffs. You want to know how much their organization gained in value? 6%. You know, we're talking about $100 million, right? More than that potentially. $100 million in 1 year. Soto's making is going to make less than half of that, right? Per season. And the Yankees organization is only getting bigger year over year, especially in a winning season. If we make a World Series appearance this season, we're going to see a 10% increase in valuation, dude. Like, you can't let Juan Soto leave. You let Juan Soto leave, you're being cheap. That's the truth. That's the God honest truth. Right now, this offense, as you kind of referenced in multiple ways and throughout all the metrics and variables that you kind of detailed, they're playing old school baseball, right? Aaron Judge said it. Cashman said it. Boone said it. We want to get back to batting average and bunting and moving runners over, doing the little things to score runs. The Yankees had 7 hits yesterday, right? 7 hits and scored 7 runs, right? 7 runs and 7 hits. They had 5 walks. 2 of those hits were home runs. The rest of it was just good baseball, right? Moving a runner over after a walk, like John Birdie did. A gorgeous bunt, by the way. We saw Austin Wells bunt the other day and move a runner over. These ball players, and by the way, I want to throw out something else. 2 outs, nobody on base. Juan Soto hits a double. You know what I mean? These guys aren't just going up on 2 outs with nobody on base and saying, yeah, we're going to the next inning. They're trying to compete. Even when the odds are stacked against them, but probabilities are saying you probably should just end this inning and move on. They're going up there with 2 outs, nobody on, and Juan Soto's hitting doubles. Guys are getting on base. Guys aren't thinking about how many outs they're on the board. They're thinking about how can I score runs right now. The mentality shift is a lot different. James Rousing, freaking round of applause, man. Whatever you're doing to help this team get back to old school Yankee baseball, but mesh that with new school Yankee baseball. It's not like the Yankees aren't hitting home runs. They're just playing better fundamental baseball, moving guys over, collecting hits. And by the way, I wanted to talk about this for a second. Giancarlo Stanton's launch angle, 4.6 degrees of launch angle. It's about half, less than half actually, than it was in his lowest mark. I think a couple years back, I think he was at 9.7%. What is going on with Giancarlo Stanton's swing that makes you encouraged? Because right now he's on fire. The launch angle is the lowest it's ever been. That could change, but the early signs are saying he's leveling his swing, and he's just putting the ball in play. He's not trying to just hit home runs. He's just look. The probability of somebody catching or fielding a 115-mile-an-hour single is freaking low. It's a low probability, right? If you hit a 150-mile-an-hour single to third base, either that guy's getting pelted with the baseball, or he has to make a Gold Glove caliber play to make that out. You know what I mean? So they're saying, Stanton, man, if you're not going to hit a home run, just hit a freaking laser beam to the infield and let them field it, because you can't react fast enough. If it's even within a foot of them, you can't react fast enough to field balls going that fast. You know what I mean? His batting average is going to be supported. His on-base percentage is going to be better because of that. What are you seeing from Stanton that's making you excited about his prospects for the rest of the season?
Yeah, so there is actually a flatter bat angle here. He is going from about 4 degrees in his bat attack angle to 2.2 degrees. That is a decently noticeable difference. I think that's going to help him in a couple of ways. Now, is a flatter swing going to give him more plate coverage? Is it going to give him a larger margin for error? You kind of hope those two things. But as you kind of alluded to, I mean, if Giancarlo Stanton just puts the ball in the air, right, like, he's going to hit a home run. He's going to do damage. It's going to be a ball. Like, if Giancarlo Stanton hits a ball 116 miles an hour and it's in the air, it's either a home run, it's either a double, maybe a single, because Stanton, sometimes you hit it so hard that you can't actually get 2 bases, or it's a hard out at somebody. But when Giancarlo Stanton, a lot of times people go, why do we care about exit velocity? Why do we talk about exit velocity? Who cares about exit velocity? Who cares about launching? Who cares about any of these things? Because Giancarlo Stanton is hitting more line drives, Giancarlo Stanton's getting more hits. And because Giancarlo Stanton is getting more hits, Giancarlo Stanton's a more productive player. Giancarlo Stanton's helping the team more. Giancarlo Stanton can hit in big spots. His xwOBA, that's your expected weighted on base average on contact. That's basically evaluating your damage, your ability to do damage. It's at 502. That is a dramatic increase from 429, the lowest it's ever been in the StatCast era last year. And a part of that is the increase in sweet spot rate. It is the increase in the ability to say, okay, this ball should go for a hit. This ball is going to go for a hit. Now, He has to manage the strikeout to walk rates. Those are brutal. The strikeout to walk numbers have been really ugly, and the plate discipline has been very bad. But as he gets a little more accustomed to just hitting, right? Like as he gets more comfortable in the box, as he gets a little more accustomed to whatever it may be with hitting and all that stuff, I think he'll look a lot better. But yeah, like I think Stanton, the big thing for him is, can I get like a 500 slugging percentage? Can I get not even a 5, let's say 480, and can I get like a 310 OBP? Can I get that from Giancarlo Stanton? Because if I get that from Giancarlo Stanton, probably getting around a 120 WRC plus hitter, I'll take it, right? Like I'll more than take it. I will run with it. I'll love it. It's not the profile that necessarily matches up with everybody else on the team, but that's good. I think it's a good thing, Alex, to have a guy who can just destroy the baseball. It just goes up there and he wants to crush the ball. He just wants to do damage. He wants to crush it, hit line drives, do what it needs to do to get the ball into the gaps, and that helps in run scoring situations, right? Like Giancarlo Stanton, I understand also it comes with the double plays because he's a pretty slow guy, but Alex, if he hits a fly ball in the air to left field, it's not no cheapie. If a runner's at third, that guy's scoring because that ball's launched, that ball's sent to fucking Jupiter, right? Like that ball's not, you're either not catching it or you're catching it at the track. This isn't no lazy pop-up. The guy crushes the baseball, and that's going to definitely help him. And then you kind of look at the rest of the guys in this lineup. Verdugo can make contact, and his swing decisions have actually gotten a lot better. He's been more aggressive in zone while not chasing more. Wells, good swing decisions. Vulpi, we talked about Vulpi, just how impressive he's looked. The swing decisions are good there. Same with Cabrera. Soto, super patient. Obviously, Judge has always been a patient hitter. Now you start looking at this lineup and you go, who are the strikeout guys? Like, who are the guys that are going to strike out a lot? Judge, Stanton, and then kind of who else, right? Like, I'm going to pull up the lineup now. Is Rizzo going to strike out a lot? No. Is Torres going to strike out a lot? No. Is Verdugo? No. Volpe? No. Wells? No. Cabrera? No. So now you have a lineup, and Alex, your lineup has two guys who are going to strike out a ton. And they can all hit for power. Not one guy here is a quote-unquote noodle. Everyone here can hit 10 or 15 home runs at the very least. I'm very impressed with the composition of this lineup, and I hope that they're able to continue the efforts they've made to get better because, end of the day, I mean, Alex, is just the most impressive Yankee lineup we've seen, at least getting off to this kind of start in a while.
It absolutely is. And look, this is exciting stuff for us. Hopefully it continues to progress. I think that there are a couple of key components just starting to find their groove. Alex Verdugo, obviously, is one of them. We don't even have DJ LeMahieu back, so we'll see how that progresses too in terms of how they implement him. Having DJ LeMahieu back at third base is going to be great because, like, would you rather have DJ or John Birdie? Like, that's really the conversation. I actually wouldn't hate DJ LeMahieu just batting 9 when he comes back. Why? Because he's going to have to get used to playing again. Like, he's not going to be in flow, in rhythm. I don't want him batting leadoff the second he gets back. Put him in the 9 hole for a couple weeks. Let him get back. Let him get his sea legs back, get into the groove. Maximize his liabilities, or minimize his liabilities rather. And then, as he gets acclimated, if he gets back to where he needs to be, you put him back up to leadoff, and then you change up the order a little bit to maintain what you've already built. So, I'm excited to see what the Yankees do as they get a little bit more reinforcement now. There's a lot to go down, a lot of action. Tonight we got another game with AJ Puck on the mound for the Marlins, and I think we could beat the crap out of him, to be quite honest with you. We got Carlos Rodon. Would love a really nice outing from him. Save some of our bullpen. Keep him well rested. Nestor's coming off a tremendous performance in 8 innings of 2-hit baseball. We love to see that. So really great performance to help keep our bullpen health and rested. But guys, always happy to hear your thoughts below in the YouTube comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.